Alright, so World War III recently got an update, and from what I managed to play of it so far, it's pretty good. A lot of the sound issues have been fixed, which was one of my primary criticisms of the game, and overall, it's just fun to play. While it's not nearly as polished as a AAA title, I feel like this game is going to outpace Battlefield 2042 once it goes free to play, as that will attract a lot of new players to jump in rather than paying to get into early access, as it currently sits at a $15 price of entry. Or more if you wanted to get some of those extra packs they're offering. Alright, so let's start with this update before anything else. Rather than go through the whole list of patch notes, I will touch on a few things that I'm interested in. I mean, look at this, there's so much they fixed. Regarding audio, they fixed the footsteps. Thank fucking God. Those footsteps were so loud prior to this patch, and you couldn't really tell where they were coming from. As someone who played a lot of Counter-Strike, listening for enemy positioning is a big deal for me. Now the footsteps are nowhere near as loud, and you're finally able to discern where someone is based on their footsteps. I'm so happy that was finally fixed. They also added low ammo feedback, which is pretty cool if you ever decide to play without a HUD. Being able to hear when your mag is about to run dry lets you anticipate the need to reload, so you can start managing your movement before you actually run out of ammo, kind of like a reverse pre-fire, I guess. Silent vehicles in first person. Now this one I didn't even know was a thing, and I honestly haven't noticed anything like this prior to the patch, but hot damn, that sounds like that would have been frustrating. Glad that one got fixed with the patch. Moving on to some technical stuff, they fixed a number of issues regarding party members joining the game, players attempting to rejoin a game, party issues, and matchmaking issues. I'm grouping all of these together as these are all kind of related to each other. While I haven't had anyone immediately in my circle of friends that have gotten into World War III just quite yet, everyone is playing Apex right now, I haven't had a chance to mess with the party features much myself. However, this is a very big deal just due to the fact that this game is slated to go free to play soon, and players that are grouping up with their friends would have had a terrible first impression, and as we all know, first impressions are everything. For example, I recommended World War III to an acquaintance at work. This was about 4 months or so ago before any of the bug fixes. He tried it out, but because of the lag, he had a bad time and didn't play the game again. So imagine a party of friends having trouble connecting to a game or struggling to even form the party in the first place. That's a bad time and could lose you potential players. So I'm glad these fixes came through before it went free to play, because the fallout of that would have been catastrophic for player numbers. Now gameplay updates are where things get a little bit interesting. The big one I think will grab people's attention first is the new form of IFF. Glow sticks added to the player model, or lights. They say lights, but they look like glow sticks. When you play, you'll start seeing glow sticks attached to both friendly and enemy players. Another addition that may help with players running with no HUD. I can see two sides to this part of the update. One side that doesn't really mind, which is where I'm sitting at, and the other that won't like it because it messes up with a realism factor, and that's quote-unquote realism factor. Now I could see where those that would sit in the latter opinion are coming from, as the glow sticks can mess with that immersion. However, World War III isn't really a milsim, it's more comparable to Battlefield that angles more like a casual, almost arcadey shooter. So if a milsim is what you're after, you've got Squad or Arma to work with, both great games. Next, the majority of assault rifles had hipfire accuracy increased to be more consistent in close quarter fights. As someone that hipfires a lot in close quarters, this is music to my ears. I just find it easier to track my target a lot easier when hipfiring if someone suddenly appears in front of me, like if I'm entering a room or if an enemy is leaving one, reserving ADS for more medium to long range engagements. However, World War III isn't out of the woods just yet. As far as what I think the game needs, basically, just more content. After this game goes free to play, it'll need more maps, more guns, more game modes, and will need a regular flow of content if this game is going to survive. But if it doesn't, it'll end up with a frustrated player base, and we're already seeing that with games like Battlefield 2042 and, to a lesser extent, Halo Infinite. Maps and guns are pretty much a no-brainer, but imagine additional game modes that are off the beaten path for a game like this. Maybe World War III can have its own version of tank superiority, maybe even have smaller modes like something similar to Search and Destroy. Variety is the spice of life, as well as making sure your game doesn't die quickly. The more varied game modes you have, the better. And that's about all of the updates I really wanted to focus on. There's plenty more, so if you want a full breakdown, I recommend checking out the patch notes for yourself. Now I wanted to circle back around to what I said during the intro about World War III outpacing Battlefield 2042. What you're seeing on screen may be slightly old data by the time you're watching this, but bear with me as I make these videos several days in advance before I release them, because hey, having a 9 to 5 doesn't give me a whole lot of time to make videos. According to these Steam charts metrics, World War III has a 24-hour peak of 2,210 players, where Battlefield 2042 has 2,405. Sure, Battlefield 2042 still has more players based on that metric, but once World War III goes free to play, I'm sure that metric will skyrocket for them, if at least temporarily. Player drop-off is inevitable for this kind of thing, but still, Battlefield should be towering over World War III in terms of player count, but because DICE missed the mark by miles, they're struggling to keep what player base they have left. Even their most recent update pales in comparison to World War III's update, which fellow YouTuber BitPerfect pointed out on Twitter, comparing patch notes between the two games. Also, you should check out BitPerfect. He has a lot of good stuff on his channel, kind of in a similar vein as the stuff that I'm doing here on my channel, so definitely go check him out. I'm not saying that World War III is the Battlefield 2042 killer. It might be, but that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying is that this team is putting in so much work to get this game into the best possible state it can be prior to making the game free to play, with fixes that will ensure the first impression is based on the game itself and not the performance or any other technical issues. The patch is proof of that, and despite long periods of silence from the developers, they still managed to deliver a product that is functional as well as fun, giving me confidence that this game will be something to keep your eye on. World War III deserves your attention, so if you haven't already, I recommend diving in as soon as the game goes free to play. Hell, if you want to jump in sooner, they're only asking for $15 USD, which, in my opinion, is a pretty good asking price. In the end, what I'm trying to say here, really, is that DICE should be taking notes. They need to take a look at World War III and see what they're doing and realize they need to step up their game, because their ass is about to be kicked by a free-to-play game. Hopefully DICE is paying attention. Alright, enough about DICE. I have high hopes for World War III and its future. Things are looking good right now and I hope it stays that way for them. Right now we don't have a solid date for when it will go free to play, so I recommend following the game on Steam. Hell, wishlist it while you're at it. I'm sure this game will be a blast to drop into with your squad, so keep your eye on it. And that's about all I had for this one. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing and liking the video, as that always helps. Any and all links can be found in the description down below, along with my social media, including my Twitter and Twitch. With that being said, stay hydrated, I hope you have a good one, and I'll catch you next time.